Welcome to the Town of Lexington Council meeting. This meeting is being held at Town Hall Monday evening, December 4th, 2017. This meeting is being broadcast live and will be replayed several times on the town's information cable channel 2 over the next week. I'm Steve McDougall. I'm the mayor of the Town of Lexington. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to my fellow council members. To my left is Mayor Pro Tem Hazel Livingston.
Good evening.
To her left is Council Member Todd Carnes.
Good evening.
To his left is Council Member Steve Baker.
Good evening.
To my right is Council Member Kathy Maness.
Good evening.
To her right is Council Member Ted Stambolitis.
Good evening, y'all.
And to his right is Council Member Ron Williams.
Good evening.
At this time, I would like to welcome Pastor Pat Riddle from St. Stephen's Lutheran Church. If you wouldn't mind, please come forward and offer invocation for tonight's meeting. And thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure to bring you greetings from the good folks at St. Stephen's, your neighbor across the street.
Absolutely.
The prologue of John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God, and all things came into being through him. And what has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. And the Word became flesh and lived among us, full of grace and truth. And we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Father's Son, full of truth. It was on this same month, December 17th, but it was in 1903. And news happened that would change your world forever. Orville Wright piloted the first plane 20 feet above a windswept beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The flight lasted all of 12 seconds, covered 120 feet, but they did something that no one had done before, powered flight in a heavier than air aircraft. They were absolutely thrilled, and they ran and telegraphed their sister, Catherine, back in Dayton, Ohio. Here's the text. Are you ready? It's not a text, my goodness, it's a telegram, and it said this. We have actually flown 120 feet. Stop. We will be home for Christmas. Stop. Well, she ran down the street and she shoved the telegram, the news scoop of the century, in the hand of the editor of the Dayton Journal. He read it carefully and he smiled and said, "How nice. The boys will be home for Christmas." You know, I always chuckle when I hear that story, but you know, the editor of the newspaper got it right. And that is this, the news that will change things from this day into tomorrow and into forever is that Emmanuel, God with us, is born. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Let us pray. Almighty God, Heavenly Father, bless our town, our citizens, our county, our state, and our country. Hold close, we pray, our public servants on this town council, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom and charity and justice. Help them to employ their gifts and their authority to serve faithfully and promote our common life. Through your Son, our Savior, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
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 Blessings this season.
Thank you very much, Pastor Riddle. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and offering that invocation. Are there any former military or current military members in the audience? All right, having none, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Johnny Dillard, if you wouldn't mind, come forward. I'm going to ask you to start us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Does everyone please stand?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Dillard, thank you very much, and thank you for what you do for our town. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and report on tonight's executive session. Tonight, we had two legal issues. One was advice related to municipal election procedure, and the other issue was an issue regarding pending litigation. We had three personnel items. One was a routine personnel review, one was holiday leave policy, and the third was boards and commissions appointments. No vote was taken. Do I have a motion to ratify the mayor's executive session report?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Manus makes a motion. Mayor Pro Tem seconds the motion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is ratified. On the agenda tonight, are there any deletions from tonight's agenda? Anyone want to delete anything from the agenda tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to delete old business item number 3, please.
Mr. Williams moves to delete item number 3 from old business. Hearing no objection, we will remove that from tonight's agenda. Moving into approval of minutes, copies of the minutes for council meeting November 6, 2017 were provided to you in your packets. Are there any omissions, additions, or correction to council meeting November 6, 2017? Hearing no omissions, additions, or corrections, do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Councilmember Manus makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem seconds the motion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. This time we will move into presentations. Our first presentation tonight is from Mr. Bill Shanahan from the Lexington County Blowfish. If you would not mind, please come forward. I see have your lovely wife with you tonight also. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Great.
And thank you for being at our famously, world famous now, Snowball Festival, both Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So thank y'all for being part of our community.
Blowy, the Blowfish, had a great time.
Good.
And we're thankful. It was a great parade, great festival. Lexington, you guys are just really just doing a super job. And we're proud to be residents of Lexington. My wife Vicki and I, we have a special presentation. We'll make it short, but want to thank our mayor. God put it on our heart to have a mayor's prayer breakfast out at the ballpark at the Stadium Club, and it all worked out. We got a wonderful speaker who shared his testimony, that being Bobby Richardson, the great second baseman for the New York Yankees. And at the same time, it's pretty cool when your mayor not only comes to be there, but he cooks the food too and serves it. And we'd like to make a presentation on behalf of the mayor and Vicki and I and the Blowfish to Carol Yarborough. Carol, if you'll come up here. This is a check for $500 for the mayor's prayer breakfast. You're doing a wonderful job there, and this is from the heart of Mayor Steve McDougal that wanted to do this and not only raise money, but raise awareness for what the wonderful things you're doing. And Vicki and I want to help as well in the near future. So God bless you, and Merry Christmas. You bet.
Thank you.
And thank you all, and Mr. Mayor, you can cook for me anytime. Thank you all.
And I would do that anytime. Carol, if you don't mind, if you'd like to say a few words, you're welcome to. And then Bill, we're going to ask you and Vicki to come back up. We'd like to have a photograph also.
Well, the Dickerson Children's Advocacy Center moved to the town of Lexington. We've been not even in our new facility at 140 Gibson Road, so we're definitely neighbors for a little less than a year, actually. We've already seen more children than we've seen in 2015. We've seen more children for medical exams, and it's not the thing that you want to have, but we're so grateful that we're there to be able to help children who have experienced pain and tragedy in their lives. And to have been a recipient of this first mayor's breakfast, prayer breakfast, just has been fabulous. I mean, we feel like we've been living here for a while now. We look forward to helping Lexington and being in the heart of our community as we help children and families, and just so grateful to have the support and the recognition for our staff and our board, who really does a lot of hard work and has their heart in helping children as well. So just delighted to be here and hope to keep seeing more of you. Love being part of this community.
Thank you so much.
Thank Oh, and thanks for making me not follow the tennis players.
You hold the check. Thank you again, Bill and Vicki. Our next presentation is a proclamation from Councilmember Todd Carnes declaring Friday, December 8th as Arbor Day in the town of Lexington. Councilmember Todd Carnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a proclamation of the mayor and council for the town of Lexington declaring December 8th as Arbor Day in the town of Lexington. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, now therefore be it proclaimed by the mayor and council of the town of Lexington that Friday, December 8th, 2017 is hereby declared Arbor Day in the town of Lexington, South Carolina, and that all citizens are urged to celebrate Arbor Day by supporting efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and by planting trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations, proclaimed this 4th day of December 2017, signed by Steve McDougal, Mayor. Dan, this is for you, I believe.
Mr. Walker, if you don't mind, come on down. Yes, sir. We know you're recovering, but the doctor said you need to exercise that thing. So. Dan Walker makes sure that we get this award every year. We get the Tree City Award every year because of Mr. Walker, and we thank you for that.
My pleasure.
You got it.
It's always to get me all in.
Stay real tight, Dan.
Recently, we just had to take a pecan tree down on the corner. For
Yes.
The, What-way pairs are, that improvement, traffic improvement. We're going to replace that pecan tree with an oak tree.
Fantastic. Very good. Next, we will hear a proclamation from Councilmember Ron Williams congratulating the River Bluff High School women's tennis team on winning the state championship. A proclamation congratulating the 5A state champion River Bluff High School women's tennis team, varsity tennis coach Brian Lim, Principal Dr. Luke Clamp, and Councilmember Ron Williams, if you will take over from here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, Mayor, I'd like to have Coach Lim introduce all the players and have them come stand up front if they would, please, before I read the proclamation. Yes, sir, if you would.
We'll start with our youngest, and we'll go to our oldest. So we have 8th grader from Meadow Glen Middle School, Leanne Zhu. We have, sophomore, Kiana Thatcher. Sophomore, Ellie Delk. Sophomore, Shelby Byers. Sophomore, Riley Mitchell. Sophomore, Claire Floyd. Wow. Junior, Anna Sophia Brown. Junior, Jillian Lightsey. And our 2 seniors, Megan Togneri and Elizabeth Rockmore. We also have with us our assistant coach, Coach Trip Perkins.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. So this is a proclamation from the mayor and council for the town of Lexington commending the River Bluff High School girls tennis team for winning the South Carolina State 5A championship. Whereas the 2017 South Carolina State High School tennis tournament has recently concluded, and whereas the River Bluff High School girls tennis team was crowned South Carolina 5A state champion, and whereas the team concluded the season with a record of 21 wins and 4 losses, including playing wins over West Ashley, Somerville, Spring Valley, Wando, and Spartanburg, and whereas the team coached by Brian Lamb, Natalie Horn, and Trip Perkins, consisting of all these nice young ladies, and whereas the mayor and council, as well as the citizens of the town of Lexington, are always proud of the academic and athletic achievements of the local students. Therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of the town of Lexington that the River Bluff High School girls tennis team is recognized and commended for its accomplishments in winning the 2017 South Carolina 5A Tennis Championship, proclaimed this 4th day of December 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Councilmember Williams, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask Dr. Clamp if he'll come forward.
Absolutely.
And then if you don't mind, I'm going to join you because I want to get in that picture.
Hey, how are you?
Good job, y'all. Thank y'all for coming tonight.
Hold on, ladies.
Ladies, hold on.
Hold on, ladies.
There's one for
Here
you.
you go. Copy for each one of you girls.
Great to see you.
My son, just thinking last year, said Lander this week, said, Dad, can't you put this off till next week? So I can be here. He was gonna help me. You gotta stay out of this. You're welcome.
Thank you. Now you're comfortable. And Victoria wasn't here too, so thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Dr. Clamp, if you don't mind, step to the microphone for just a minute. We have one more.
I'd like to say a couple of things. First, for our coach here, Brian, I've known him since he was a student at USC. He was a South Carolina Teaching Fellow, and for those of you who don't know what the Teaching Fellow program is, it's to keep the best and the brightest high school students in South Carolina to be teachers. And so I am very, very proud of you, even when you were working at USC. And I was so glad when you were at River Bluff, and I hope that he's going to teach my son one day. You hear that, Dr. Clem? So anyway, congratulations. I followed your season, and I'm just very proud of you and these young ladies that I've known many of you since you were at Midway Elementary School. So that's great. And Dr. Clamp, I don't know if y'all know this, but we have in front of us the South Carolina Secondary Principal of the Year. And I am so proud of Dr. Clamp. I've known him for a very long time, before he was even at River Bluff. He is a great principal, a fine role model to so many of our students, and I am just so very proud of you. And we're right now in South Carolina, we have the National Secondary Principal of the Year, and you know, I think we might could get that again. So congratulations. Thank you for everything you do for our community and for River Bluff. And I say that as a town council member and as a parent. I just appreciate you, and we all appreciate everything you do. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Clamp.
And not only is Dr. Clamp the Secondary Principal of the Year, also in Lexington District 1, we have Dr. Thomas Rivers from Pleasant Hill Middle School, who is the Middle School Principal of the Year from South Carolina, and the Pillion High Assistant Principal, Erica Page, is the Secondary Assistant Principal of the Year in South Carolina. So those of us, all of us in Lexington and in Lexington School District 1, we should be very proud of our leadership that we have in this district. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you. We will move right into a vision plan update for December 2017. The Snowball Festival. We'd like to first start out by saying, it's not in my script, but it sure is worthy of saying, to Johnny Dillard and Dan Walker, to your staff, for all the hard work you did, not only decorating the town, but being there all weekend long for the Snowball Festival. And to Jennifer Dowden for what a fantastic job you did this weekend, putting all 3 days together. Hats off to you. I think we set records on all 3 days with all three events. And for Daryl, thank you for filming, taking pictures, making sure everything was recorded. Staff, thank y'all very much for what you did. Chief, your police department was on point all weekend. I know y'all worked a long weekend for us, but we certainly appreciate it. So thank you to everyone that participated in the 6th Annual Snowball Festival this past weekend. It was a great way to kick off the holiday season in the town of Lexington. On Friday night, the concert and carnival at Lexington Square had more than 2,000 attendees. The event included concert by Terry Shire and the Mud Puppy Band, magic shows, face painting, and glitter tattoos, balloon artists, stilt walkers, character artists, s'mores, and hot chocolate provided by our staff and Councilmember Ron Williams, visits with Santa Claus, and the tree lighting, which was absolutely fantastic. Johnny, thank you. Along with craft food vendors to sell their wares and treats as wonderful holiday gifts. Saturday evening, more than 500 people came out to enjoy our outdoor showing of Frosty's Winter Wonderland and It's a Wonderful Life at our award-winning Ice House Amphitheater. We capped off the festival yesterday with over 100 entries in our annual Christmas parade. Thank you to the more than 2,500 residents who lined Main Street celebrating the season. A big thank you to our partner agencies, Lexington County Recreation and Aging Commission and Lexington JCs, and the media sponsor B106.7 FM. Finally, again, thank you to all of our staff who worked tirelessly to put together this wonderful weekend. We look forward to an even more exciting Snowball Festival in 2018. And I believe the Accommodations Tax Committee representative, who do we have? Who is our
That's me.
liaison? Mr. Carnes? We'll be looking for you this year. At this time, we will have a traffic update from Mayor Pro Tem Hazel Livingston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The SC6 one-way pair project is well underway with construction activity along South Church Street, Maiden Lane, and Hendrick Street. The next work area is planned to be around West Main Street with new sidewalk, curbs, and right-hand turn lane onto South Church Street. Please expect minor delays in and around this area over the next few weeks. A new right turn lane is being installed at the new Lidl grocery store near Hope Ferry Road on 378. Most of the work should be on the shoulder, but please use caution around this area. A new left turn median was constructed as part of the new Circle K on US 1 near Library Hill Lane. Use caution with this new traffic pattern. The next traffic committee meeting will be Wednesday, January the 10th at 8 a.m. on the 3rd floor of the conference room, in the conference room of Town Hall. Finally, if you're aware of any traffic issues in the town, please contact 358-7273 and let us know.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. At this time, we'll move right into public hearings. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. Our first public hearing is final reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County Tax Map number 3500-01-008 and 009 located at 226 Corley Mill Road. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Hearing none, moving on. Final reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County Tax Map number 4423-01-038 located at 231 Powell Drive. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Hearing none, final reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County Tax Map number 5424-03-001 located at 889 South Lake Drive. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Hearing none, final reading of an ordinance entering into a mutual aid agreement with Columbia Metropolitan Airport Security. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Moving on, final reading of an amendment to the business license ordinance. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Final reading of an ordinance approving a mid-year budget adjustment. Anyone here wish to speak to that? Number 7, final reading of an ordinance updating the general bond ordinance. Anyone here wish to speak to that? And finally, final reading of a supplemental ordinance to issue combined water and sewer system revenue refunding bonds of 2017. Anyone here wish to speak to that? I can't believe anybody's not here to speak to that. Yes. That concludes our public hearings. We will move right into old business. Our first item of old business is from Councilmember Kathy Manis. Final reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County tax map number 3500-01-008 and 009 located at 226 Corley Mill Road. Councilmember Kathy Manis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church owns 9.2 acres on 2 parcels located at 226 Corley Mill Road and has petitioned to annex the properties. Properties in town near this one are zoned limited commercial and high-density residential. Corley Mill Road is classified as a collector road. The Planning Commission reviewed this annexation during their November meeting and recommended limited commercial zoning for the property and collector road classification for Corley Mill Road. I make a motion for final reading approval.
Councilmember Manis makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Baker seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Councilmember Ted Stambolitis. Final reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County tax map number 4423-01-038 located at 231 Powell Drive. Councilmember Ted Stambolitis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and members of Town Council. New Start Homes LLC owns 2 acres located at 231 Powell Drive and has petitioned to annex the property. A single-family home is being constructed on the site. Properties in the town near this one are zoned protected residential and protected residential 2. Powell Drive is already classified as a local road. The Planning Commission reviewed the annexation during the November meeting and recommended protected residential zoning for the property, and I'd like to make a motion for final reading approval.
Councilmember Stambolitis makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Williams seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Councilmember Ron Williams. Final reading of an ordinance entering into a mutual aid agreement with Columbia Metropolitan Airport Public Safety. Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Lexington Police Department is entering into a mutual aid agreement with Columbia Metropolitan Airport Public Safety. The proposed agreement is attached for your review. I'd like to make a motion for final reading approval.
Councilmember Williams makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Manis seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Councilmember Steve Baker. Final reading of an amendment to the business license ordinance. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The model business license ordinance has been updated to clarify circumstances in which a not-for-profit entity can be exempted from business licensing. The new provisions specify that a business license is required when any net proceeds of operation, after necessary expenses of operation, inure to the benefit of any individual or any entity that is not itself a charitable organization, or are used for a purpose other than a charitable purpose. Additionally, excess benefits or compensation in any form beyond fair market value to a sponsor, organizer, officer, director, trustee, or person with ultimate control of the organization shall not be deemed a necessary expense of operation. The revised provisions ensure that truly charitable organizations remain exempt, while organizations that actually are serving private interests are required to be licensed on par with for-profit entities. I make a motion for a final reading of an amendment to the business license ordinance.
Councilmember Baker makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Williams seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Mayor Pro Tem Hazel Livingston. Final reading of an ordinance approving a mid-year budget adjustment. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The attached budget adjustment for the enterprise fund is required for the acquisition of the I-20 sewer treatment facility. The detail is attached in Schedule 1, Schedule 2, and Schedule 3 and summarized as follows. Increase enterprise fund revenue, $935,000. Increase enterprise fund expenditures, $468,000. Adjust enterprise fund sources and uses, $462,000 for a net of zero. And Brett's going to explain that to us because that does not add up to me. And additionally, in the general fund, capital outlay needs to be reapportioned between departments due to the failure of the Continuum database, which is used for door security. Finance Department renovations can be postponed to FY 2019. Parks and Sanitation came in under budget on their lawnmower and their truck. Therefore, no additional appropriation is required for this portion of the budget adjustment. Increase PB&T's capital outlay $10,000, reduce finance capital outlay $6,000, and reduce Parks and Sanitation's capital outlay $4,000 for a net of zero. I make a motion for final reading of an ordinance approving a medial budget adjustment, and Brett's going to explain that up there is a little off on numbers.
Yes, ma'am. If you'll look on Schedule 1, which is on the direct back of the ordinance itself, it's got a breakdown. So the difference between the money that's not shown is essentially either going into reserves, essentially fund balance, or contingency. So you'll see it all adds up there. It was just the big items on the front. So the net truly is zero. It just wasn't all reflected on there because it's a whole sheet.
Okay.
But if you have any questions, take a look and let me know.
Very good. Mayor Pro Tem makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Stambolita seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Councilmember Kathy Manis, final reading of an ordinance updating the general bond ordinance. Councilmember Kathy Manis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The town's general bond ordinance provides the legal framework upon which all of the town's debt financings are structured. In consultation with our bond counsel and financial advisor, the town is updating the ordinance to address developments in public finance and utility systems operations that have occurred in the nearly 25 years since its 1993 adoption. Numerous technical updates have been included in order to meet the town's current needs and financing, including creating flexibility and whether to maintain a debt service reserve fund for future issuance. Also, the additional bonds test has been updated to improve implementation of its requirements. Careful consideration has been given to the impact the modifications will have on the town's credit ratings, financial position, and financing flexibility. Once the new general bond ordinance is in place and based upon market conditions, the town plans to refund several outstanding issuance to take advantage of the present value savings and to refund the revenue bond anticipation notes of 2017. I make a motion for final reading of an ordinance to adopt an amended general bond ordinance.
Councilmember Manis makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Stambolita seconds the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Our next item of old business is from Councilmember Ted Stambolitas. Final reading of a supplemental ordinance to issue combined water and sewer system revenue refunding bonds of 2017. Councilmember Ted Stambolitas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of Town Council. The town has several series of outstanding bonds which are eligible for refunding at rates that will result in significant present value savings. Additionally, the refunding is advisable given proposals before the United States House and Senate to eliminate advance refunding after December 31st, 2017. The town's financial advisor and staff will determine the issues for refunding based upon market conditions in December and specific financing concerns, including primarily the amount of required debt service reserve, the resulting new debt service amounts, and expected present value savings. This will be the first supplemental ordinance adopted under the new general bond ordinance, and I'd like to make a motion for final reapproval of a supplemental ordinance to issue combined water and sewer system revenue funding bonds of 2017.
Councilmember Stambolitas makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Baker seconds the motion. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stambolitas.
This may be too early to say, but any idea how much we'll save in our finance department or the refunding?
Councilmember Stambolitis, market conditions change daily. The last reading we took on the market was on Thursday, and they had gross savings in between $3 to $4 million, closer to $3. The market turned in our favor on Friday a little bit. Of course, a lot of folks are going into the market for the same reasons we are, because Congress is changing tax law. And so there's going to be a lot of folks competing for the dollars. And so that tends to drive up interest rates that we'll be paying. So hopefully we'll get very favorable results in our marketing, and we'll see those savings materialize as we've just described. But we're basically in a position where we have to take advantage of the opportunity to get the savings now, because after the end of the year, assuming that Congress passes the tax reform, this opportunity will be, most of this opportunity will go away.
Well done on catching this opportunity, and thank you for saving money for the town of Lexington.
Sure.
Absolutely. Great job. Yes, sir, Mr. Carnes.
May I have a follow-up? When do we anticipate getting a rate lock?
We hope to market these next week.
Thank you.
Very good.
Well done.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. At this time, we will move into new business. Our first item of new business is from Councilmember Todd Carnes. First reading of an ordinance annexing Lexington County Tax Map number 5496-01-035 located at 118 Bickley Road. Councilmember Carnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kevin Johnson owns 11.2 acres located at 118 Bickley Road and has petitioned to annex the property. A 35-unit single-family subdivision is being planned on a portion of the site. Properties in town near this one are zone protected residential, and Bickley Road is classified as a limited local road. The Planning Commission reviewed this annexation during their November meeting and recommended zoning the property protected residential. The commission also recommended classifying this portion of Bickley Road as a local road and reclassifying the remainder of Bickley Road as a local road. Is that right? So, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for first reading approval.
Councilmember Carnes makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Stambolitis seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Our next item of new business is from Councilmember Ron Williams. First reading of an ordinance amending the land development ordinance regarding changes to the U.S. Postal Service delivery policies. Councilmember Ron Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The United States Postal Service has changed their policies by now requiring cluster boxes to be used for residential mail delivery in new subdivisions. This change created some confusion with developers that may not have been aware of the new requirement. To prevent future problems with this requirement, the Postal Service is asking local governments to codify the cluster box requirement in their land development regulations. Based on feedback from the building industry, the Planning Commission recommending adding the following language to land development ordinance. USPS approved locations for all mail facilities and residential developments shall be shown on all site plans submitted to the approving authority. Make a motion for first reading approval.
Councilmember Williams makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Manus seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Moving on, item number 3 of new business is from Councilmember Steve Baker, reimbursement resolution for water and sewer system CIP. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town will fund the current water and sewer system capital improvement plan, or SIP, in part by the issuance of revenue bonds and bond anticipation notes, or BANs. Internal Revenue Service regulations allow issuers to adopt a reimbursement resolution in order to recoup costs for capital expenditures incurred prior to the issuance of bonds or BANs. The town will implement projects in accordance with the SIP, but needs an updated resolution to include expenditures related to the acquisition of the I-20 system and anticipated related improvement projects. Additionally, project descriptions and currently estimated budgets will be updated in order to maintain maximum flexibility in project development and financing. I make a motion for approval of an updated reimbursement resolution for water and sewer system SIP.
Councilmember Baker makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Williams seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. That is unanimous. Our next item of new business is from Mayor Pro Tem Hazel Livingston, request to allocate streets and infrastructure funding to enhance land planning activities related to the LTIP. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the Lexington Transportation Improvement Plan continues to develop, it is apparent that Phase 2 of this project will require some planning assistance to ensure that projected growth both inside and outside of the town is properly included in the planned intersection improvements. With this in mind, council is being requested to allocate up to $75,000 of streets and infrastructure funding to hire a consultant to assist with this phase of the LTIP development. I'll make a motion for approval.
Mayor Pro Tem makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Baker seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Our next item of new business is from Councilmember Ted Stambolitis, funding request for Martin Luther King celebration. Councilmember Ted Stambolitis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of Town Council. The Lexington County Ministerial Alliance and the MLK Celebration Committee have requested the town sponsorship of the annual Martin Luther King Fellowship Banquet in celebration of Martin Luther King holiday. In past years, the town has purchased a table at the banquet with a contribution of $250. The town will be given a reserved table for 8. I'd like to make a motion for council consideration of a donation of $250 to the MLK Celebration Committee.
Councilmember Stambolitis makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Collins seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. At this time, we will hear announcements from Councilmember Kathy Maness.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor said, we hope everyone enjoyed the Snowball Festival this past weekend. Our town's 3-day event gets better every year, and thank you so much to our staff who did a wonderful job. Also, we'd like to wish Councilman Steve Baker a very happy birthday on Wednesday, December the 6th. So happy birthday. Also, we'd like to congratulate Mayor McDougall, who's recently sworn in as the president of the South Carolina Association of Mayors, and that's an affiliate of the Municipal Association of South Carolina. So congratulations, very proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Also, on December the 6th at 6 o'clock will be our annual board training session for our boards and commission members. If you're interested in serving on one of the town's boards, please visit our website at www.lexsc.com. The Board of Zoning meets this Thursday at 5:30 here in the council chambers. And I'd like to invite everyone to the 7th annual carol lighting at Willie B. Character Park. Again, that's this Thursday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Character Park is a wonderful town neighborhood park located at 804 Hendricks Street. And our Parks Department staff has done a wonderful job working extra hard this year to add more lights to the park. The event will feature Miss Lexington Teen, the St. Mark Missionary Baptist Church Male Chorus, and Words of Wisdom for the Season by Reverend Elaine Eskew, pastor at New Bethel AME Church, followed by the official tree lighting. So everyone come out and enjoy the food and the fellowship at Character Park. The Lexington Community Band will perform at 7:30 on December the 12th at Lexington High School's Performing Arts Center. If you've not heard the community band, you need to take a few minutes out of your busy schedule for the great evening of music. And our very own finance director, Kathy Roberts, we should have hired her in the first place, is in the band along with many other fine musicians from our community. So I know that's going to be a great night. Council will not have a work session meeting in December, but we'll meet again on Tuesday, January the 2nd at 2018 at 6:30 here in the chambers. The Planning Commission will meet in December on the 20th at 8 a.m. here in council chambers. And Town Hall will be closed on December 25th and 26th in observance of the Christmas holidays. So we'll also be closed on January the 1st for New Year's Day. thank you for watching your town council in action tonight. And on behalf of the mayor and all of our council members, we would like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And let's always remember the reason for this season. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. Any other announcements from any other council members? Yes, sir, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take the time to thank Ms. Phyllis James at the Mitchell House. She is hosting a party for the Lexington elementary staff and teachers this Friday night, which I thought was very nice of her to contribute to the community and give that the place for the teachers to actually have a party and provide some food and refreshments for them.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other announcements or anything they'd like to share? Yes, sir, Mr. Carnes.
Mr. Mayor, very quickly, just by way of education, a lot of you got caught up in the craziness of 378 and roadway construction there this week. And just to let you know that our council and our staff vehemently protested that to South Carolina DOT, as we have in the past, and they have given us reassurances that they will not do that roadway construction during daytime hours going forward. It should only happen from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. We've requested that for all of their projects because Highway 1 and Highway 378, they're not our roads, they belong to DOT, and so they make those approvals. And we always ask for night work, and now we have assurances, at least at this point, that any lane closures should always be at night. Apologize for the chaos. We are fighting to keep those roadways open at all times. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Yes, Ms. Menace.
Well, it looks like we have a good many students in the audience tonight. Thank y'all for coming. Not sure if you're in a government class and you need to have your paper signed to say you were here, but we will be happy to sign that for you. But we're glad you're here tonight, and we invite you to come back anytime to see your Lexington Town Council in action. So we'll be glad to sign that for you. Come on up when we're finished.
Very good. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Very good. Any questions from the news media? I don't think we have anyone here tonight. Public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything they'd like to say about tonight's agenda? Hearing none, that concludes our business for this evening. Thank you for watching the Town Council meeting for the Town of Lexington. This meeting was held at Town Hall Monday evening, December 4th, 2017. A recording of this meeting will be aired on the town's information cable channel 2 several times during this week. On behalf of Town Council and staff, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Without objection, we are adjourned.